Hello, welcome to Living on the Edge. In the old days, people attributed any death by illness to the will of God. Today, a great deal more is known about all kinds of illnesses. Is this merely because we have become more proficient at tracking them down, or has the number of diseases actually increased? Let us see how living in an urban environment has its own health risks. Until a decade ago, people would snigger if you called being depressed a disease. But today, more and more urban Indians are willing to consult psychiatrists. One wonders what it is that has changed. Is it now acceptable to admit to having mental problems? Or is the urban stress finally taking its toll?
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul.
4 years ago, after I lost a child, I began to get these very weird feelings that weren't like me. And I walked up to my husband and I said, look, something's happening to me. So he told me, look, you're making a big thing out of this. Basically, we didn't speak. And so it just kept getting worse. Locked myself up in the loo and I took an overdose and I hoped that I wouldn't wake up the next day.
Smitha survived, but the 2 traumatic weeks spent in the ICU of a Delhi hospital changed her family's life forever. They know now that the prolonged feelings of sadness that she experienced was in fact depressive illness that needed urgent medical attention. Today she feels more in control of her life.
Things are vastly different because I'm on medication. More importantly, we've realized that there's nothing more important in life than us. We want to work all our lives in something we like, but not at the cost of anything else.
Smitha's case represents an alarming trend. According to studies conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences in Bangalore, 1 in every 15 adult Indians suffers from depressive illness. And yet, the understanding of depression as a serious, often fatal disease continues to be dangerously low.
Feelings of sadness or a sense of depression or a sense of low should be considered a depressive illness if there is any one of these features. If the sadness is too persistent, if it's too severe, if there is disturbance of biological functions, namely sleep and appetite, if there is a significant disability in day-to-day functions.
Unfortunately, early symptoms of depressive illness are usually dismissed by family members as a passing phase, or even ignored on the account of the stigma associated with mental illness. Medical intervention is sought, if at all, only when the patient begins to show suicidal tendencies.
And they couldn't have been anything worse than saying, yeah, I'm going to a shrink. I might as well have committed suicide if I thought of going to a shrink. It was that bad.
It is known now that besides the genetic factor, physical and sexual abuse and negative childhood experiences can all lead to depressive illness. Loss of the mother in childhood is, for instance, one of the major causes for the onset of depression in middle age. Depression, psychiatrists say, is also a syndrome related to change of any kind, and the demands of an incessantly changing society are pushing more and more people over the edge. Today, stress is by far the most easily identifiable and common cause of depressive illness.
It's a fact that all of us face this stress and we are all prone to getting depressive illness when our coping abilities fall short of the amount of stress that we face.
It can happen to just anyone.
It can happen to just anybody.
I had a very good job. I was working for a very good company. I just left that company and started a business of my own. I suffered huge losses in it. By the time I started looking for another job, the type of job I was looking for, that was not coming my way. I had lost interest in almost everything in life. I realized that I have become a failure in life.
What is perhaps more worrying is that depression is assuming frightening proportions, even amongst the very young. High peer pressure, even higher parental expectations can be traumatic for young people. The fallout has been a generation of people aspiring to be someone else, something else, and never feeling good enough. The result? A midlife crisis at 20. Perhaps nothing demonstrates that as well as the steadily rising suicide rate in the country. According to psychiatrists, as much as 60% of all suicides are caused by severe depression. What is even more unsettling is that for every depressed person who commits suicide, there are many more who would like to. Year after year, the country witnesses a spate of exam-related suicides. A 24-hour hotline set up by Sarthak, a voluntary counselling centre in June this year, received 5,000 calls from all over India. 700 of these came from teenagers with suicidal tendencies. Psychiatric medicine even today has no absolute answers to depression. While timely diagnosis and medication can control the disease, there is no guarantee that depression will not recur.
If you've had the depression once, it is more likely to come the next time you have stress. Not much worse than hypertension or diabetes.
Have you always believed that someone should see a counsellor only if he wants to spend rupees 500 or so to sit on a fancy couch and answer a set of predictable questions? Think again. Psychiatric medicine acknowledges that among the best long-term treatments for depression is cognitive behavior therapy. In other words, counselling.
Suicide impulses and wishes don't last for longer than 3 weeks. And it's that crucial time when somebody can take their life or can be stopped.
Though the high incidence of depression in India is linked to the maladies of urbanization and modern lifestyles, the disease by no means precludes the poor. Though detected cases are obviously fewer here, the real incidence is actually higher in lower socio-economic classes. While there is at least amongst the affluent an increased willingness to seek professional help for mental illnesses today, it will take a few more decades for depressive illness to be understood and coped with by the common man in India. According to a WHO report, depression threatens to be the world's most common illness by the turn of the century. Are we in India equipped to cope?
You suffered for your sanity. And how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never will.
We hope that report helped shed some light on this little known problem. We take a break now, but stay with us. We have a story of special interest to those of you who are hoping to shed those extra kilos without any effort. The obsession with fitness has gripped our urban population as never before, and cashing in on this are several weight loss clinics which have mushroomed all over our metros. They offer no less than the moon. Some claim you can get slim without even exercising. Others offer safe herbal pills, and still others claim that they use special scientific techniques. But just how genuine are these claims? Are the clients merely being fleeced of their money, or is their health and safety also at risk in these clinics? Living on the Edge investigates.
Ravina Tandon was once plump. Now, she's not so plump. Perhaps that's why getting her to open a slimming center in the capital is a good idea. Her presence is an endorsement, it would seem, of the slimming center's potential in helping you get the look. The science of weight loss is simple. If you use up more calories than what you've taken, you lose weight. Exercises and the right sort of food and drink can give you the body of your dreams or something close to it, unless of course you have a medical or hereditary problem. But no one buys the simplicity of this logic. The general feeling is that you can lose weight only if you spend lots of money on a miracle cure or diet until you actually drop. The urge to be thin is fueled by the terrific success of Indian models and their glamorous lifestyles as seen on television. While no one says it's not important to look and feel your best, weight loss shouldn't become so obsessive that it leads to dangerous eating disorders.
Today teenagers are very obsessed with their appearance and with being thin, and in their obsession to be thin, they may land up with eating disorders such as anorexia and bulimia.
But that doesn't seem to convince people obsessed with weight loss that muscle stimulations, celotherm treatment, liposuction and slimming pills aren't the way to achieve physical nirvana.
Today people are willing to go to great lengths to lose weight and be slim. But are the weight loss techniques available effective and safe? Do they deliver what they promise? We took Vandana's help to find the answer.
Vandana visited 2 or 3 weight loss clinics, posing as someone who desperately wanted to lose weight. At the first clinic, she was promised permanent weight loss with no side effects, all for the sum of 12,000 rupees.
I want to know about the weight loss program. Yeah, it's a machine-based program. Yeah, where we've got these dermal machines which play the main role. Okay. The weight loss machine is called the fat disintegrating system. Yeah, so what it does is it activates your whole system. So you would basically require around 10 kilos of reduction. That should work out around 12,000 rupees. After the thing is over, the session, if they put on weight again, they don't. Usually, 99% of our clients don't. It's permanent. There are any side effects? No.
Of course, Sunit failed to mention that there have been people who have had bad experiences with their weight loss programs. Ashima Verma is one such person.
After joining this VLCC program, I developed this hair on my face, and a doctor told me that it may be due to those machines which they used.
Appearance of the new facial hair is unlikely. Weight loss program does have some endocrine changes in the body. It can affect the thyroid functions. It can affect the male hormone and female hormone metabolism. It can affect the cortisol productions. It may lead to the consequences may lead to the irregular periods in cases of females.
Vandana next went to an Ayurvedic clinic. Here's what they told her.
No side effects, he just takes guarantee, and it's 2,000 per month. He says the metabolism rate goes up permanently.
There is no medicine which can change the permanent basal metabolic rate. No authentic double controlled clinical trials has been carried out on these drugs in human clinical trials. So no one can say how safe they are, whether they are really effective in reducing the weight or not.
In fact, all sorts of slimming pills, Ayurvedic and allopathic, are available on the market today. Magical little pills that will have you looking slim in no time. Of course, they all claim there are no side effects. Shibani Ghosh had tried many different diets but found it difficult to shed those extra kilos. A friend recommended a doctor who prescribed 60 slimming pills that would help her lose weight in no time.
I was actually losing weight and feeling very, very good. After a week, the pills were not available. And when I stopped the pills, I found that my hands were trembling, my feet were shaking, and I was feeling really terrible. When I went to the doctor, he told me that my blood pressure had become very low and he put me on a drip.
This is a drug which suppresses your appetite when the patient is not able to control his appetite. So by suppressing the appetite, patient takes less and tend to lose weight. But it has a lot of side effects associated with it, like irritability, dryness of mouth, tremors, trembling of the fingers, the listlessness, and sometimes insomnia. So that is why this drug has been banned.
Being thin is seen to be glamorous. An exhibition on beauty and fitness in a 5-star hotel where weight loss machines were on hard sell was a place we decided to check out.
And if you go side effects, yeah.
All systems are medically approved. Not Indian medical assistance.
No.
Out of India.
But how come it is not approved in India and we are selling it?
Very long process. We can try anything.
Judging from the information we got during the filming of the story, it is quite evident that there are little or no regulations at blind weight loss clinics. There seems to be a huge grey area as far as the effectiveness and safety of the claims go.
All these dieting and weight loss programs should be medically supervised, and therefore they should have some kind of check.
The only thing everyone recommends for weight loss is a balanced diet and regular exercise. The problem with this recipe is that it doesn't sound glamorous. It also isn't terribly expensive. Besides, it feels like hard work. In the end, that's what ails people who want to lose weight. They want quick fix solutions.
Isn't it the responsibility of the state to keep a close watch on such malpractices and safeguard its citizens? We've decided to put this very question to government officials.
Dr. Vardhan, weight loss clinics are simply mushrooming all over the city. Does the government have any regulations in them?
At the moment, I don't think we have any specific regulations.
Does that mean that I as a lay person can open a clinic tomorrow without any license?
You should not do that. At the moment, there is no regulation.
I see hundreds of ads promising me the moon. Do you believe that these ads ought to have some kind of a statutory warning about the possible health hazards?
I would certainly say that there has to be a mechanism of controlling their quality.
Why has nothing been done so far? You have been the health minister for a very long time now.
It is a bit difficult to have a control over them. To be very frank about it, no one has yet brought this particular issue into attention.
Being a doctor yourself, would you agree these weight loss measures come with certain health hazards?
Certainly, if it is not done with proper control, proper precision, you may land up into a number of problems.
Like?
It can have effect on your heart, it can have effect on your various other systems.
We have spoken to patients who've been to these clinics. In fact, these patients have not only not lost weight, one of them has suffered hormonal problems. She's come up with hair all over her face. Now, where does this woman go?
They can have resort to action in a court also. And if we come across such complaints, and if they are referred to the ministry,
forwarding complaints to the ministry for a common man is a very far cry.
I am happy that you have brought this particular issue to my attention, and we will certainly work up.
What initiative do you hope to take, sir?
I think we have to start with putting up some expert committee.
The minute you say a committee, a thing goes into cold storage.
You say something and I, at the drop of a hat, I say that I press the button, regulations are made.
Can you draw up a deadline for us? Roughly when?
It might take a few months, that's all.
Are you saying that in 6 months from today we will have certain regulations, a certain monitoring body?
We will certainly go into its total depth and see it in the total broader perspective and look after the interest of the patients, and that would be our foremost priority.
On the one hand are modern health fads which seem to change with every season, and on the other hand are time-tested systems of healing handed to us by ancient civilizations the world over. Ever heard of someone being healed by a touch of the hand, or by the vibrations of the mind, of crippled legs regaining their strength after neurosurgeons had given up? No, these are not miracles. These are cures wrought by ancient therapies. Let's find out some more about alternate medicine.
Touch is one of the first sensory perceptions that all living creatures acquire. Late in life, Sri Chakravarti felt an intense desire to touch sick people. And when she did touch them, they felt soothed. In some cases, her touch even cured them of their sickness. Ever since Sri has put her gifts to therapeutic uses, her methods are simple. She places her hand upon the patient, her hand, she says, begins to vibrate, and the patient gets cured. The explanation, energy transfer.
It is some mild electrical current in the form of the finest type of energy it works.
Exactly how one is cured baffles even medical practitioners. Some believe touch releases negative nervous energy from the body.
I was diagnosed as having a slip disc, and for 3 months I had been bedridden when the doctors were advising surgery. Then I came to Sri Ma, and within 3 weeks of her treatment, I was cured.
These unverifiable, unquestionable, undefendable systems are involving human lives, and there should be stringent scientific verifications before any claim being accepted.
Not all of Shri's patients get cured. Shri only takes up certain kinds of diseases like heart diseases, ulcers and slip discs. Skeptics may please note that Shri does not charge her patients. Touch therapy is not exactly a new phenomenon. Through history, healers and religious persons, from Christ and the Sufi saints to Mother Teresa, have all had something unique about their touch. If touch therapy hasn't exactly convinced you, here's a system of medicine which is more organized. Tibetan medicine has been around since the 7th century AD. It's a synthesis of Ayurveda, Chinese and Tibetan medicine. Its practitioners say it works well for maladies like stress and depression.
We cannot cure AIDS and cancer, and rest of the disease, 75% we can cure if the patient can follow the proper advice from the doctor.
इस बच्चे का हमने दिल्ली में कई अस्पतालों में इलाज कराया है, कहीं फर्क नहीं पड़ा, और जब से यहाँ इनका इलाज कराया हमने तो यहाँ से 2 महीने में इतना फर्क पड़ गया इनको कि खूब खाते हैं, पीते हैं, दौड़ते हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब फर्क आ गया.
I had a fibroid and I was advised to take some medicine, and I went in for Tibetan medicine, and I took that for about a year or so. The time was really too much, and the medicines were quite expensive, and it didn't help me.
6 साल पहले उनको प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड की तकलीफ थी और उनको खून चालू हो गया. वहाँ से किसी डॉक्टर से ठीक नहीं हुआ, यहाँ लेके आई जिसका इलाज चल रहा है और इनकी दवा से ठीक.
Unlike allopathic medicine, which attempts to cure the symptoms of an illness, Tibetan medicine addresses itself to the root cause of diseases. The philosophy behind this system holds that the root of any disease is the ignorance of nature's reality. Sensory perception and one's mental makeup are one aspect of this reality. The other aspect is physical environment, comprising of earth, air, water, fire and space. An imbalance in either of the two aspects can lead to disease. While the philosophy may sound difficult, diagnostic techniques used in this system include familiar scientific ones like pulse rate checking and urine sampling. Medicines, however, are purely herbal. Apart from touch healing in Tibetan medicine, there are many ways of curing oneself. Reiki, acupuncture, magnetotherapy and pranic healing are just a few of these. They are gaining popularity. It is high time their efficacy is tested and documented.
Most people are naturally still skeptical about such cures, but I count myself among the believers. I can still distinctly recall the comfort I felt at the touch of my mother's hand when I was very young and ill. If a touch can comfort, it can certainly heal. That's all we have for you this week. Goodbye. Catch you again next week, same time.